Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Code Your English. I'm so happy that you are here with me today. This podcast is a place where we learn English while we also learn something powerful about life. My goal is to help you not only practice your English listening and speaking, but also grow as a person. Every episode, we explore ideas that can make your life better. And today, we have a very special topic. Today, we are going to talk about something simple but life-changing. Raise your standards. Raise your life. Maybe you have heard this phrase before, but do you really know what it means? In this episode, we will talk about how the level of your standards, the things you accept or don't accept in your life, can completely change your future. When you raise your standards, you raise the quality of your life. Now, let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever felt stuck in life? Have you ever felt like you are doing your best, but nothing really changes? Maybe you feel tired of repeating the same mistakes. Or maybe you look at other people and wonder why they are growing and improving. But you are not. If you have ever felt this way, don't worry. You are not alone. Many people feel the same. The good news is, there is a way to move forward, and that way begins with raising your standards. In this episode, we will explore what standards actually mean. We will talk about why some people achieve more, not because they are smarter or luckier, but because they expect more from themselves. I will also share how you can start raising your standards in simple, practical ways. You will learn how small changes in your daily life, your habits, your attitude, your choices, can create big results over time. And don't worry if your English is not perfect. This podcast is made for you. English learners who want to practice and improve while learning something meaningful. I will speak slowly and clearly, and you can repeat after me if you want to practice speaking. By the end of this episode, you will not only understand how to raise your standards, but you will also get new English words and phrases you can use in your daily conversations. So, are you ready to grow? Are you ready to learn how to expect more from yourself and create a better version of your life? Then, let's begin this journey together. Remember, when you raise your standards, you raise your life. Welcome to Code Your English, where we learn English and design a better life at the same time. What does raising your standards mean? So, what does it really mean to raise your standards? Before we talk about how to do it, we first need to understand what standards are. In simple words, your standards are the rules you set for yourself about what you accept and what you don't accept in your life. They are like invisible lines that show how high or low your expectations are. These lines decide how you behave, how you treat yourself, how you treat others, and even what you believe you deserve. For example, if you say, "I want to be healthy," but you often eat junk food and never exercise, then your standard for health is quite low. You are accepting that level of behavior. But if you say, "I want to be healthy," and you make sure to eat fresh food, drink water, and move your body every day, then your standard for health is high. You don't accept less than that. The difference between low and high standards is not in what people want, but in what they are willing to accept and act on every day. Let's take another example, maybe something about work or study. Imagine two students. Both want to improve their English. The first student says, "I want to speak better English," but only practices once a week, and gives up when it feels difficult. The second student says the same thing. I want to speak better English, but decides to practice every day, even if it's only for 10 minutes. The second student has higher standards because they don't accept excuses. They expect more from themselves. And guess what? Over time, that student becomes more confident and fluent. Our standards are like a thermostat in a room. You know, a thermostat controls the temperature. When the temperature goes too low, the thermostat turns on the heat to bring it back up. When it goes too high, it cools it down again. Your standards work in the same way. If your life temperature goes below your personal standard, you will feel uncomfortable and want to change it. For example, if your standard is to always be kind and respectful, and one day you lose your temper, you will quickly feel that something is wrong and try to fix it. But if your standards are too low, you may not even notice when things go wrong. You just accept it. Now, why do our standards matter so much? Because they shape our results in every area of life. Think about it. Your life right now is a reflection of your standards. The quality of your relationships, your health, your work, your confidence, all of these things are influenced by what you accept and what you don't accept. If your standard is to always give your best effort, you will grow. If your standard is to just do okay, then your life will stay okay. Here's a simple truth. We don't always get what we want in life, but we almost always get what we expect. Our standards set those expectations. If your standard is, I always keep my word, then you will follow through with your promises. But if your standard is, it's okay if I break my word sometimes, then you'll start to make excuses. Over time, this small difference builds completely different lives. You can see this in everyday situations. Some people have a high standard for how they dress, how they speak, or how they treat others. It's not because they are better. It's because they have decided not to accept anything less. Others may live with low standards and think, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, it does matter. Every small standard adds up. Low standards build an average life. High standards build an extraordinary one. Let's make it even simpler with a short story. Imagine you are living in a house. The floor of that house represents your standards. It's the lowest level you allow yourself to fall to. If your floor is low, you can live in a lot of mess, stress, and problems without feeling the need to change. But if your floor is high, the moment your life drops below it, for example, when you don't keep your promises or you skip your goals, you immediately notice and fix it. That's the power of higher standards. They pull you up instead of letting you fall down. When you decide to raise your standards, you are sending a message to yourself and to the world that says, I deserve better, and I will do better. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means you are no longer okay with being less than your potential. It's not about being better than other people. It's about being better than you were yesterday. So, as we move forward in this episode, I want you to think about this question. What are the standards I am living with right now? What things am I accepting in my life that are not helping me grow? Because once you see where your standards are, you can start to lift them, one step at a time. Why it's important to raise your standards? Now that we understand what standards really are, let's talk about why it is so important to raise them. This part is very powerful Because when you understand why you need higher standards, you will feel more motivated to change your life. Let's start with something simple. Low standards keep us stuck in our comfort zone. You probably know what the comfort zone is. It's that place in life where everything feels safe and familiar. It's where we don't take risks, we don't push ourselves, and we don't grow. When your standards are low, you tell yourself things like, "It's okay if I don't try," or "I'll start tomorrow." And guess what happens? Tomorrow never comes. You stay in the same place, doing the same things, and getting the same results. Low standards make life easier in the short term, but harder in the long term. For example, it might feel easy to skip studying English today, but later you'll feel sad when your English doesn't improve. It might feel easy to eat fast food every day, but later your body will feel tired and unhealthy. So, while low standards protect you from short-term discomfort, they also stop you from growing into your best self. High standards, on the other hand, push you forward. They shape your actions, and your actions create your results. Think about this. Your life today is the result of your past actions, and your actions come from your standards. If your standard is to always do your best, you'll work harder, learn faster, and achieve more. If your standard is just to do enough to get by, your results will match that effort. So, your standards don't just control what you do, they control what you become. When you raise your standards, you start building better habits. You begin to do things that make you proud. Maybe you decide to wake up earlier, read every day, or speak English for 10 minutes daily. These small actions come from your new, higher standard of living. Over time, they change your behavior and your mindset. You begin to see yourself differently, as someone who takes responsibility and does what they say they will do. That gives you more confidence. Confidence doesn't come from luck. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. When you follow your higher standards, you start to trust yourself. You feel strong because you know you can count on yourself. You say to yourself, "I can do this," and you believe it. That confidence then affects every part of your life. Your relationships, your work, and even the way you speak to others. Higher standards also improve your relationships. When you respect yourself more, you also choose to spend time with people who respect you too. You stop accepting toxic friendships or negative energy. You surround yourself with people who lift you up, not pull you down. And that makes life much happier and healthier. And of course, high standards lead to more success and happiness. Success doesn't mean you must be rich or famous. It means living a life that feels right for you. When you have high standards, you give your best to everything you do. You take pride in your work, you grow, you learn, and you create results that make you proud. That feeling, the feeling of progress, is one of the happiest feelings in the world. Here's a truth that I want you to remember. You become what you accept. If you accept laziness, you will become lazy. If you accept negativity, you will become negative. But if you accept only your best effort, honesty, kindness, and growth, you will become someone amazing. It all starts with what you decide to allow in your life. Let me share a simple story with you. There was a young man named David who always wanted to be a good student, but he was lazy. He often said, "I'll study tomorrow." He failed many exams and thought he was not smart. One day, his teacher told him, "David, you are not failing because you are not smart. You are failing because your standards are low." That sentence changed his life. David decided that from that day, his new standard would be, I never go to bed without studying at least 1 hour. At first, it was hard. He wanted to give up many times, but he kept going. After a few months, he noticed something new. He was more confident, more organized, and his grades got better. People started to respect him more. His life didn't change overnight, but step by step, it did. He raised his standards, and his life followed. That's how it works. You don't need to change everything at once. You just need to decide that the old version of you is no longer enough. The moment you say, I want more for myself, your mind and your actions begin to change. So, if you feel stuck right now, ask yourself this question. What am I accepting that is keeping me here? Because the moment you stop accepting average, you start creating greatness. Remember, your life will never rise higher than your standards. So make them strong, make them positive, and make them yours. How to raise your standards. Now that we know why raising your standards is so important, the big question is, how do we actually do it? The good news is, it is possible for everyone, and you can start today. Raising your standards is not about being perfect. It is about making small, consistent choices that slowly change your life. Let's break it down into 5 practical steps that are easy to follow. The first step is to know your current standards. You cannot change something if you do not understand it. Take a moment to reflect on your life and ask yourself, what do I accept every day that I should not? Where am I settling for less than I deserve? What habits, people, or routines am I allowing that are holding me back? Be honest with yourself. For example, maybe you accept being late every day, skipping English practice, or eating unhealthy food. These are your current standards. By noticing them clearly, you begin to see the areas where you need change. This self-reflection is powerful because it shines a light on your life and shows you what you can improve. The second step is to decide what you truly want. Raising your standards requires clarity about your goals and values. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What is important to me? How do I want my life to feel? When your goals are clear, you can set higher standards that support them. For example, if you want to become fluent in English, your standard might be to practice every day, even if it is just 10 minutes. If you want to be healthier, your standard could be to eat fresh food and exercise 3 times a week. Clear goals give your standards direction, so they are not random rules. They are the steps to becoming your best self. The third step is to take small daily actions. Raising your standards does not mean changing everything overnight. Start small. Small actions repeated every day create big results over time. For example, if your standard is to read more, start by reading 1 page a day. If your standard is to be more active, start with a short 10-minute walk. If your standard is to speak English better, practice 1 new sentence every day. These small actions may seem easy, but they build your habits and slowly raise the quality of your life. The fourth step is to stay consistent and patient. Change does not happen immediately. Many people start strong, but after a few days or weeks, they give up. This is normal, and it is why patience is so important. Remind yourself that every small action counts, even if you cannot see big results yet. Think about a seed. You plant it, water it, and wait. It does not grow in one day, But with care and time, it becomes a strong, tall tree. Your higher standards are like planting seeds in your life. Small actions today will grow into big changes tomorrow. The fifth and final step is to surround yourself with higher standards. Your environment has a big influence on you. If you spend time with people who have low standards, it will be harder to raise yours. But if you spend time with people who are motivated, disciplined, and positive, you will naturally be inspired to improve. You can also raise your standards by reading books, listening to podcasts, and watching videos that teach and motivate you. Even your physical environment matters. A clean and organized space can make it easier to stick to your standards. In short, your surroundings can support or block your growth. Choose them wisely. Remember, raising your standards is not about being perfect. It is about deciding that you deserve more and then taking consistent steps toward it. Start with self-reflection. Set clear goals. Take small actions every day. Stay patient and surround yourself with people and things that support your growth. These 5 steps are simple, but they work. They are the bridge between the life you have now and the life you want to live. So, I want you to think about this as we continue. Which one of these 5 steps can I start today? Even one small change can begin your journey to a better life. Remember, raising your standards is a choice. Every day, you can decide, I accept more from myself. I will do better. I will grow. And when you do this, your life will begin to rise with you. Common challenges and how to overcome them. Now, let's talk about something very important: the challenges you will face when you try to raise your standards. Changing your life is not always easy, and it is normal to feel afraid, lazy, or doubtful. Most people give up before they see the results, not because they cannot succeed, but because they are not ready for the temporary discomfort of change. One common challenge is fear of change. When you try to raise your standards, you are leaving your comfort zone. Your mind may say, "It is too difficult," or "I am not ready for this." This fear is normal. It happens to everyone. But here is a simple truth. Fear is just a signal that you are growing. It is not a reason to stop. You can feel afraid and still move forward. Every small step you take, even when you are scared, makes your life better and your confidence stronger. Another challenge is self-doubt and laziness. Sometimes you might think, "I can't do this," or "I will never change." Other times, you may feel too lazy to start. These thoughts are very common. Everyone experiences them. The key is not to wait for motivation to appear. Motivation often comes after you take action, not before. Even small actions, like practicing English for 5 minutes or cleaning one corner of your room, can give you energy and confidence. When you act, even a little, your mind starts to believe that change is possible. To overcome fear and self-doubt, you can use simple mindset shifts and encouragement phrases. For example, repeat to yourself, "I can do this step by step," or "I am learning and growing every day." These phrases are short but powerful. They remind your brain that you are capable and that mistakes are part of learning. Another mindset shift is to focus on progress, not perfection. You do not need to be perfect. Every small improvement is a success. Every step counts. It is also important to remember that change is slow and normal. You will not become a new person in one day or even one week. Just like a seed grows into a tree slowly, Your habits and standards take time to grow. If you try something new and fail, do not feel bad. Mistakes are part of the process. The important thing is to get up, learn from them, and continue. Slowly but surely, your life will improve. When you raise your standards and continue despite challenges, you will start to notice changes in your life. You may feel more confident in yourself. You may begin to speak English better, complete your goals, or treat others with more respect. Your daily habits will improve, your energy will increase, and you will start to feel proud of yourself. These small changes build up over time and create a better life. Here are some practical tips to stay motivated. First, reward yourself. Every time you meet your standard, even a small one, celebrate it. It could be a short break, a favorite snack, or a moment of gratitude. Rewards help your brain enjoy the process of growth. Second, remember your goal. Keep a clear picture in your mind of the life you want. When you focus on your goal, it is easier to take actions even when it is hard. Third, focus on progress, not perfection. Some days will be better than others. Some actions may feel small, but they add up over time. The key is to keep going, step by step, without giving up. Finally, remember this simple truth. You become what you accept. If you accept laziness, fear, and excuses, you stay the same. But if you accept higher standards, hard work, and growth, your life changes. Challenges will always come, but they are opportunities to become stronger. Every time you overcome fear, self-doubt, or laziness, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You are training your mind to accept better, and slowly, your life will follow. So, whenever you feel tired, scared, or doubtful, remind yourself, I am growing. I am learning. I am raising my standards. With patience, persistence, and small daily actions, you will reach the life you want. Step by step. Day by day. Simple daily practices. Now that we have talked about what standards are, why raising them is important, and how to do it, let's focus on something very practical. Simple daily practices. These are small actions that you can do every day to start raising your standards immediately. Remember, change does not need to be big or difficult. Small, consistent actions can make a huge difference over time. The first simple practice is making your bed every morning. This may sound very small, but it is powerful. When you make your bed, you start your day with one accomplishment. It is a small win that sets the tone for the rest of the day. You are telling yourself, I care about my space. I care about my life. When you do this every day, it becomes a habit that reminds you to take responsibility for yourself. Even this tiny action raises your standard because it teaches discipline and consistency. The second practice is speaking politely to others. Words are powerful. When you choose to be kind and respectful in your language, you raise your standard for how you treat others and yourself. Simple phrases like please, thank you, or I'm sorry can create a positive environment around you. Politeness shows respect, and respect is a standard that improves every relationship in your life. If you practice this every day, people will notice, and you will also feel better about yourself. You are setting a higher standard for your character. The third practice is spending at least 10 minutes learning something new every day. Learning does not have to be difficult or long. It could be reading one page of a book, listening to a short English podcast, or practicing a new skill. When you commit even a small amount of time to learning daily, You raise your standard for personal growth. Over time, 10 minutes a day becomes a habit. And this habit leads to big improvements in knowledge, skills, and confidence. It is a simple way to show yourself that learning and growth are important in your life. The fourth practice is keeping promises you make to yourself. Often, we make promises like, I will wake up early, I will practice English, or I will eat healthier. But then, we break them. Breaking promises lowers your standard and makes it easier to accept excuses. On the other hand, keeping even small promises strengthens your self-discipline and your belief in yourself. Every time you follow through on something you said you would do, you are raising your standard. You are telling yourself, I am reliable. I respect my own word. Over time, this builds trust in yourself and makes you more confident in every area of life. Here is the key. You do not need to do all these actions at once. Pick one new standard to start today. Maybe today you start by making your bed every morning. Tomorrow, you add speaking politely. Next week, you begin 10 minutes of learning. Step by step, your standards grow, and so does your life. Small daily practices are powerful because they are easy to do and easy to repeat. They slowly shape your habits, your mindset, and your results. The beauty of these simple practices is that they are practical and realistic. You can do them no matter where you are in life. You do not need money, time, or special skills. You just need commitment and consistency. Think about it. If you do these small actions every day for a year, your life will be very different. Your habits will improve, your confidence will grow, and your mind will naturally start expecting more from yourself. This is how raising standards becomes a natural part of your life. So, I encourage you right now to make a decision. Choose one small daily practice and start today. Do it consistently. Notice the small changes in your day and your mood. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Remember, raising your standards is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about taking small, consistent steps toward a better life. Every action counts, and every day is a new opportunity to grow. Start with one habit, follow through, and watch your life slowly rise. You will be amazed at what you can achieve when small actions become your daily standard. Real-life example or short story. Now, let's make everything we have discussed even more real with a short story. Stories help us understand ideas better and remember them. I want to tell you about a young woman named Sarah. She is not a famous person, just an ordinary person like you or me. But her story shows the power of raising your standards. Sarah always felt stuck in life. She worked in a small office and every day felt the same. She would come home tired, watch TV, and eat fast food. She wanted more for her life, but she felt scared to try anything new. She thought, I am too busy, or I am not good enough. Her standards were very low. She accepted whatever came her way and did not challenge herself. Because of this, she felt unhappy, tired, and frustrated. One day, Sarah read a short article about raising your standards. She realized that she had been accepting less than she deserved. She decided she would try to make small changes. First, she started by making her bed every morning. It was a small action, but it made her feel organized and proud of herself. Then she promised herself she would learn something new every day. She spent 10 minutes each evening reading English articles and listening to podcasts. She also decided to speak politely and kindly to everyone, even when she was stressed. At first, It was not easy. Sarah felt lazy sometimes, and she doubted herself. She wanted to stop many times, but she remembered that change takes time, and she kept taking small daily actions. Slowly, things began to change. She had more energy in the morning. Her mind felt sharper, and she felt happier about herself. Her confidence grew because she was keeping her promises and improving herself every day. A few months later, Sarah noticed bigger changes. She asked her boss for more responsibility at work, and her boss was impressed. She even started a small online business, something she had dreamed of but never tried before. Her relationships improved because she treated people kindly and consistently. Friends and family noticed that she was more confident and positive. Sarah had raised her standards, and her life had started to rise with her. What makes Sarah's story powerful is that she did not try to change everything at once. She started with small, simple actions, and she stayed consistent. She realized that raising standards is about deciding that you deserve more and taking steps, even small ones, to get it. Her story is inspiring because it shows that anyone can change their life, no matter how ordinary their beginning is. Now think about Sarah's story for a moment. Maybe you feel like your life is stuck too. Maybe you accept habits, situations, or relationships that make you unhappy. Sarah's example shows that you can take control. You can start small, be consistent, and slowly raise your standards. Your life will follow your actions. Stories like Sarah's are emotional because we can relate to her struggles, fear, self-doubt, laziness, and also feel inspired by her growth. You can imagine her tired mornings turning into productive days, her small actions turning into big achievements, and her low confidence transforming into pride and happiness. This is the power of raising standards. So, remember Sarah when you feel discouraged. Remember that every small choice you make, learning for 10 minutes, speaking politely, keeping a promise to yourself, is planting a seed for a better life. Her story proves that raising standards works, and it can work for you too. It all starts with one small step today. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's take a moment to recap everything we have learned. This will help you remember the main ideas and make it easier to take action in your own life. Raising your standards may sound like a big concept, but, as we have seen today, it is all about small, consistent actions that improve your life step by step. First, we talked about what raising your standards really means. Standards are the level of quality you accept in your life, how you behave, the habits you have, the people you spend time with, and the results you expect. If your standards are low, your life will be limited. If your standards are high, your life improves naturally. You can think of your standards as a thermostat for your life. They control how hot or cold your life feels. When you raise the thermostat, your life warms up and grows. Then we discussed why it is so important to raise your standards. Low standards keep you in your comfort zone, make you accept less than you deserve, and prevent growth. High standards give you better habits, more confidence, improved relationships, and more success and happiness. They do not just affect what you do, they affect who you become. Remember, you become what you accept. If you accept excellence, growth, and effort, your life will follow that standard. Next, we went through practical steps to raise your standards. First, you need to know your current standards by reflecting honestly on your habits and choices. Second, decide what you truly want, set clear goals, and understand your values. Third, take small daily actions. Small habits repeated consistently create big results. Fourth, stay consistent and patient because change takes time. And fifth, surround yourself with higher standards, including supportive people, books, and environments that inspire growth. These steps are simple but powerful when done consistently. We also shared a real-life example of Sarah, a young woman who raised her standards and transformed her life. She started with small habits, like making her bed and learning every day, and slowly built confidence, better relationships, and new opportunities. Sarah's story reminds us that change is possible for everyone. It shows that small daily actions add up to big life changes. Then, we talked about common challenges and how to overcome them. Fear, self-doubt, and laziness are normal. Change can feel hard, and sometimes you may want to give up. The key is to remember that progress matters more than perfection. Small steps, repeated consistently, overcome fear and self-doubt over time. Motivational phrases, patience, and celebrating small wins help you stay on track. Finally, we explored simple daily practices that you can start immediately. Making your bed, speaking politely, learning for 10 minutes a day, and keeping promises to yourself are small but powerful actions. You don't need to do everything at once. Pick one area of your life and start today. Consistency is what builds long-term change. Now, here is the most important takeaway. Raising your standards is not about perfection. It is about deciding that you deserve better and taking small, consistent steps toward that better life. Every action, no matter how small, matters. Every step you take moves you closer to the life you want. Your standards are the guide for your habits, your choices, and your results. So, I encourage you to take action right now. Think about one area of your life where you want to raise your standards. It could be your health, your relationships, your work, or learning English. Whatever is most important to you. Start with one small habit that reflects your new standard and do it every day. Remember, it does not have to be perfect. The key is consistency, patience, and belief in yourself. I want you to end this episode with this simple but powerful call to action. Start small, start today. Take one step, however small, and commit to it. Your life will rise with the standards you set. You have the power to choose better habits, better actions, and better results. Every day is a new opportunity to grow. Remember, your standards shape your life. Raise your standards, and your life will follow. So, I want to thank you so much for listening to Code Your English. Spending this time with me shows that you are ready to learn, grow, and improve not just your English, but also your life. Remember, learning English and raising your standards are both journeys. Small steps every day will bring big changes over time. I am proud of you for taking this step today. Before we say goodbye, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on what you learned. Think about the key lessons from this episode. What does it mean to raise your standards? Why it is important? And which small actions you can start today? You can even repeat a few phrases to yourself like, I deserve better. I will take small steps every day. Or, I am raising my standards and my life is improving. These words are simple, but when you say them regularly, they help your mind focus on growth and positive change. I also want to leave you with an inspiring message to carry with you. Raising your standards is not just about doing more or being perfect. It is about deciding to respect yourself, your time, and your life. Every small action you take matters. Every choice to do better, learn more, or act with kindness moves you forward. Think of yourself like a gardener. Each positive habit is a seed. Water it daily, and in time, your life will blossom beautifully. So today, take one small action, something simple but meaningful, and commit to it. It could be making your bed, practicing English for 10 minutes, or speaking kindly to someone. Remember that even the smallest step, repeated consistently, can lead to big results. Your life is shaped by the standards you set for yourself. Choose high standards, and your life will rise with them. Thank you again for listening to Code Your English. I hope this episode gave you new ideas, motivation, and confidence to raise your standards and improve your life. Keep learning, keep practicing your English, and keep growing every day. I believe in you, and I know you can make small changes that will bring big results. Until next time, stay positive, take action, and raise your standards. Goodbye, and take care.